Welcome to the Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur podcast. Today's guest is Jay Gibb. Jay is a former software engineer and the founder and CEO of B2B SaaS company CloudSponge. Together with his team, Jay helped numerous agencies help their e-commerce store customers optimize their word-to-mouth sales in 2010 with a unique blend of tech expertise and soft skills. Jay is an expert at helping e-commerce stores to build the right features to reduce customer acquisition costs and increase sales. Welcome to the show, Jay. It's really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Please give us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you got into the e-commerce game, because you really your kind of niche, I would even say it, there is not too many people who are doing a correct job, let's say it this way, because you cannot really, the crucial thing in this type of environment is that you can prove the traffic you bring, but it's really over time you can see what the impact actually is on your shop. So everyone wants to work with you. I'm 100% sure of that, because everyone who sells want to make more sales. So you have you found the right niche actually. So please give me a little bit of context about all of this.
Sure. So about me, I grew up in Western Canada, a city called Calgary. And I, went to technical college to learn how to be a software developer back in the mid 90s. And I've been in software one way or another since then, since basically the mid to late 90s. Around 2010 was when we launched the first version of CloudSponge.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't know that I was getting into e-commerce. We built some software that was kind of like abstract and universally useful. And then as people bought it and we met our customers and we did customer success and we sort of looked at the way that our customers were using it, then we started to realize that, that what we had built is a piece of software that e-commerce is using and benefiting from, right? And so I can't say that it was a stroke of genius or anything. It was really a real typical story of scratching our own itch and building something that was obviously missing. And now 12 years later, most of our clients that purchase this software, which is just a monthly SaaS tool, it's a subscription you pay every month for, but the vast majority of them are e-commerce stores or sort of in the peripheral of e-commerce. So like things that have like some kind of e-commerce checkout process or referral programs, and anything where word of mouth is important. So we, in addition to just regular e-commerce, we also dominate social network, because word of mouth is obviously very important in social networks to sort of get the network to grow, and also in crowdfunding and fundraising, where getting your backers and your enthusiasts to spread the word and talk about your campaign like with their friends and family is important. And so those are some spaces that we do really well in. But e-commerce is, if I was to draw a pie chart of CloudSponge customers, e-commerce is well over half. It's probably 3/4 of our customer base.
Okay, yeah. That's already a good overview of what you're doing. If we go back to 2010, obviously Wild West, everything is upside down. There is still a lot going on Amazon Marketplace. Products left and right, software, you could pull data as you wish. There were no real limits. From this time, the software actually it was there where the software was developed, right? So
yep.
Okay. So and then over the years you just added a little bit, because it's so funny when people are saying, yeah, let's build a SaaS software. It's like, yeah, let's do it. And it's like after 1 year, it's like, oh, this don't work. Oh, this don't work. And then you see like 3 years later, still it's like, and that's what
Right.
I'm always saying, you should not underestimate such a software, because it comes from passion. It comes a long way, and it comes from a lot of, trying and running tests, and it's just not. What did you do in the meantime? I mean, while you were developing that software, how did you? I mean, did you ever sell on e-commerce, or have you done just consulting, or was it from the beginning something you could run for the customers?
Yeah, it was mostly consulting and software that we could operate and run. And maybe it'd be helpful if I just kind of describe what it is that the software
Yeah,
does, so that
definitely.
everybody kind of is able to visualize it. So what we sell primarily is called a contact picker.
Okay.
And so if you imagine your own e-commerce store, somewhere on that store, you're going to have word of mouth features.
Mm-hmm.
So places where you're trying to get your customers or your audience, whoever's on your website, to share either links to products or links to a referral program or sending coupons or sharing wish lists or other things where you've already got some functionality on every e-commerce store that exists for allowing your fans, the people that love your products and have their own networks, to be able to talk about it, to be able to
Okay.
share it, to tweet links and put Facebook posts with links to, all that kind of stuff. Everybody, you and everybody listening, is familiar with various word of mouth features that are sort of the table stakes, right? Best practices for e-commerce stores. And what CloudSponge does is it adds the ability for those features to include the user's address book.
Okay.
That's as simple as it is. So if you, and there are thousands of websites, many of your audience may have seen this before, where the little envelope icon that nobody clicks on, the one that's like the mail to link that is everywhere. Or you may have seen a refer a friend form, that sends your unique referral code to your friends, and you have to type in a comma separated list of email addresses, right? You have to remember your friends' email addresses
Yeah.
and type them into a field and make a comma separated. And if you're on a mobile device, you're switching from the Safari app to the Contacts app, and it's a terrible user experience.
Yes.
And because of that, most people don't do it, right? And so what CloudSponge provides is a little button that looks like an address book, and you can make it look however you make it look. Like you can make it say like add from contacts or select from your address book. You can kind of make the button look however you want. But when you click it, it opens up a menu that's got like a Google logo and a Yahoo and an Outlook.com and the iCloud and all the logos of all the places on the internet where people store their contacts, right?
Okay.
And so then they select one of those logos. Most people choose Google, but the rest of them are still like relevant and non-zero amount of usage. But they select Google, they give permission to read their contacts, their address book, and then they get like an alphabetized list. If they're on their phone, they get a nice little, like, down the right margin, it'll have the alphabet so they can tap on it. And just like your address book on your phone,
Okay.
except it's inside an e-commerce website, right? Inside a
Okay.
Safari browser, inside a Chrome browser on a phone or on a desktop. And then they can select whoever they want, search for them, basically make a recipient list inside the CloudSponge Contact Picker. And then when they say next, or whatever the button label is, then they go back to the e-commerce website, and all those email addresses are just populated for them. They didn't have to type anything. They didn't have to try to construct a comma separated list from memory or any of that stuff. It just comes from their address book, right? And so that's kind of where we live. That's the real niche. It's like a niche of a niche, right? It's a thing
Okay.
that, and that's the place where we're able to really make a big difference, right? Because a lot of times, e-commerce stores, especially the ones that are bigger, are starting to hit diminishing returns for ad spending and other kinds of customer acquisition tools.
Definitely.
and then but they haven't listened to your podcast, right? They haven't discovered that the address book button is a thing that's really easy to add, right? And when they do that, then all those people, like, they can start to really like thrive with referral programs and word of mouth features. Like I said, sending coupons, sharing wish lists, the other kinds of functionality that otherwise is not either not performing well, like those little envelope icons, right? Or they just haven't done them because they know that the email input use case is really difficult for
Okay.
users. And so those are things that all of a sudden become priorities once they realize that the address book and giving users access to it on their in the interface is, is such a game changer.
I'm quite sure about that, because everything we want is just something easy, because I would jump directly off if I see, oh no, I need to do this and that, and then this and open that, and that's it. I'm already gone. So this is, I think, the user experience and make it as easy as possible is the most important thing what you have right now. The customer experience is super important. I mean, that you do it as fast as possible. I'm coming directly to one of the questions I would like to ask you, because in e-commerce we're very eager to have always more customers, more sales, more traffic. How would be the best way to do that? Maybe you can explain a little bit your techniques as far as you're allowed to do it, and don't reveal any secrets here.
No, I'm happy to reveal whatever I know. No secrets on my end. As far as that, what I've seen work very well, and just to be clear, I'm talking about my customers, right? Because I'm not an e-commerce store,
Okay.
but I serve thousands of them, and so our customer success team gets access to them, and we help them, and we consult with them, and we sort of are able to on an occasional basis take a look at how things are working and see the creativity that comes from some of these really successful stores, and then incorporate that into my suggestions, right?
Okay.
And so what we see working, there's two things that I think are the biggest. There's several little ones, but I think the two big ones is, first of all, to have a referral program of some kind. E-commerce stores that don't have a double-sided referral program should seriously consider trying it, right? I mean, maybe it won't work for everybody. And what I mean, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, what I mean by a double-sided referral program is, if, let's say, I'm on a t-shirt store and I know that Omar wears t-shirts and he's going to love the quality of these t-shirts, Omar and all of my friends, right? I'm going to refer it to Omar, but I'll more likely to refer to 10 people or 20 people if there's some benefit for me.
Sure.
But also I need to be able to give them a coupon or give them some benefit, right? So most of the referral programs that you see will have a trigger that's basically a reward for me, the referrer, when my friend actually does a transaction. So I don't get any kind of reward if I just spam it out to a bunch of people that don't do anything. But if I'm thoughtful and I send Omar a $10 off coupon with a nice personalized message that says, hey, Omar, this is Jay, your friend, you know me, and I think you're going to love these t-shirts. You should check them out. And then if he buys one, he gets his $10 off. And then I get some kind of notification that says, hey, Jay, your friend Omar bought a t-shirt. Thank you for sending them to us. Here's $10 off your next purchase, right? So now you're like turning me into a loyal customer that's going to buy more t-shirts because now I've got a coupon sitting there waiting for me to use, right?
Sure.
And I'm able to send out those coupons to people in a really personalized way, in a thoughtful way that, is it's not guaranteed, obviously, but the conversion rate on something like that is going to be much higher than the conversion rate of me like posting a link to my Facebook page or doing something that's not like an actual direct outreach from me to a friend with some words that I've written for that friend, right?
Definitely. I mean, this is we're going already now into the tactics. So we're going from how to increase the traffic of customers. And now we're going into the tactics. You already said a few ways how to do it, or how is the best way, and explained as well very well. But in order to double, if somebody wants to double his sales and say, listen, I need to do this now, and please help me. How can I double my sales right now? Obviously, with the word to mouth tactics in at the moment, how would be the best way? I mean, a part of what you just explained right now.
Yeah, so it's, what we can help with is doubling the word of mouth component of your sales. Obviously, we can't promise that we can double your total number of sales for your store, because we don't know how you generate them, right? But, what we've seen anecdotally from customers for 12 years now is that whatever sales they're currently generating from word of mouth, like from that sales channel, we can easily double it. Usually a lot more than that. Doubling it is easy, right? The addition of an address book or a contact picker, and then some of the other stuff that we've got in our downloadable white paper, that it's kind of like a playbook for word of mouth checklist and audit for any e-commerce store. And I can tell you how to get to that later.
Yes, please.
So we've got this like workbook. It's like 6 pages long, and it kind of goes through like the basic routine of like, what do you need to do to double your word of mouth, right? And obviously the contact picker is part of that. And the way that the math works out on that, the way that you can think about the doubling of it is, if you've got, let's say you've got a form, like a referral form already, you've got some kind of referral program that exists on your website, and probably half of your audience already does, then, and you just look at how well it performs and how many successful conversions that referral program generates for you, right? And then you add a contact picker to just the interface. You just add that button I was explaining before with the address book icon on it. What ends up happening, sort of on average, obviously every store is a little different, so give me a little leeway on this, but on average, is only 5 to 10% of the people that use the referral program are going to actually click that button and use their address book, right? Because some people don't know what it means. Some people aren't comfortable sharing their address book. Like you're going to get 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 10 people actually using that address book button, right? But those people, that 5 to 10%, are going to generate 50% of your total referrals, because it's so much easier for them to select their friends. Basically, everybody that doesn't use it will probably have the tenacity or the patience or the ambition to type in 1 or 2 email addresses, usually just one, right? And then that one email address may or may not convert, right? But the people that are actually your super fans, the ones that really love your product and really have a lot of friends that also are going to love your product, they're not going to have the patience to type in all those email addresses. So that person can just say, oh, great, thank you for letting me use my address book. Thank you for providing a contact picker. They'll do it. And then they'll use our contact picker to select 10 friends or 20 friends or 30 friends or however many friends. And so what ends up happening is that relatively small percentage of people that use the address book or the contact picker are actually going to generate, they're the ones that will double your total number of successful conversions on the word of mouth program or on the referral program.
Okay, it's like a snowball effect, It's like one do it, the next one do it, and then it's down the line. They all refer, and it's using this playbook, and it just continue, and generates sales and referrals, right?
It does have a tendency to build on itself. I think all word of mouth programs do, because what ends up happening is that if I'm referring, my friends that I already know are going to love this product, and then those people have turned into other fans, and they also get the same rewards if they do the same thing, and it ends up being, a multiplying effect over the long period of time. As long as the e-commerce store operator watches it and nurtures it and pays attention to it, it's not the kind of thing you can just forget about. Like, you really need to like consider it, an important investment of time and cycles to to optimize it, just like anything else on the store. But those that do, like, it becomes like a permanent part of their long-term business strategy, right? It's a really important piece of the puzzle for all of our customers.
Oh, you definitely said something really good here. Long term, you know, this is as well something I'm trying to explain to a lot of customers. Long term, you know, we need to think long term. Nothing comes like overnight or in a few weeks. You know, now when we're looking at ad spends on Amazon, if we go for DSP, there's a minimum of 3 months we have to pull money in. So in order to get the data out. So I think this will be changed from now. Maybe in a few years, then we, you know, the like Facebook, we can gather data a little bit easier. But for now, this is what we're looking at. So nothing is complete, I would say, with everything that you were talking about right now without a good email marketing. And I think as well, the most not underrated, but I would say like a little bit complicated tool, which need really some good copywriting, which needs some good understanding of the different providers where you can get through and everything aside. So having 50,000 email lists don't mean that you're gonna get good customers out of that. So please tell us a little bit more about how you would tackle this engagement and a good opening email rate.
Yeah, so email marketing, I guess in order to have a good discussion about it, we sort of need to set the context,
Yes.
set the context for it a little bit. In my world, there's kind of 3 different types of email marketing that are very distinct from each other. The one I think that you're probably talking about right now is like sending occasional emails to the people that are on your list that announce
Exactly.
products or remind them of, you know, deals that are ending, or, you know, like Black Friday emails and that kind of email marketing. The other 2 that I think are a little bit less appreciated and deserve more appreciation in my mind are like newsletter emails, basically emails where it's not directly obviously tied to your store and a little bit more interesting and
Just a nice
objectively
update, you
useful,
know,
right?
or something
About
yeah.
the industry or the market, and,
Exactly.
you know, brand building kind of newsletter type emails, which I don't think we've seen some crazy success with newsletter referral programs, and I can get into that if you want to hear about
Yes.
that too. But newsletters are a thing now, and we're seeing a ton of leads and activity in our sort of sales pipeline for people that are, you know, wanting to use contact pickers with newsletter referral programs. And then the third one that I think again is sort of underappreciated is referral emails. It's a type of email marketing, but it's an email it's going through the store. It's branded by the store that's sending it, but it's being sent by a customer of the store to another lead of the store, right? It's a little bit different, where again, it's the same old use case that I was just talking about a few minutes ago, right? Where I'm going to send an email to my friends, and that's triggered by me. And it might be, it's all basically new leads. It's people that probably aren't already customers of the store and aren't already on the mailing list. But I want to send them an email. I want to tell them about this product or this deal that's on right now. And you know, those emails, I think, either don't get sent at all most of the time, or when they do get sent, they've got very elementary personalization that hurts their open rates and their conversion rates, right?
I agree.
So, you know, which one do you want to talk about?
I
The
think
newsletter referral program or
the newsletter is really good. I think this is something very interesting, and yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit as far as just like what's a newsletter and what's a newsletter referral program. Like a newsletter, again, like is something that people are getting from your company that's not just shamelessly advertising your products and your deals, right? It's got to be something that's interesting, useful information about, the market or the industry or the way things are going or the materials you're using or the manufacturing process or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like, a little bit abstracted from trying to make money, trying to make sales, right? It's kind of a top of a funnel thing. And a newsletter referral program is just like a referral program, like what I described earlier, except the trigger for a reward, rather than it being purchasing something in the store, it's just getting your friend to sign up for the newsletter. Okay. So if you imagine that, you've got a newsletter, about something that's sort of abstractly related to what you sell, and you're sending out a, weekly digest, whatever it is that goes to the newsletter. Well, if I've got some sort of incentive for getting my friends to sign up for that newsletter, like when you get 10 of your friends to sign up for a newsletter, you're going to get a free sticker or t-shirt or
Yeah.
scarf or some product, maybe some product that your store has too much of, some inventory surplus that you're trying to get rid of. You could say, okay, cool. Like if you get 10 of your friends to sign up for just the newsletter, they don't have to buy anything. They just have to subscribe to the newsletter. Then you'll get this reward, right? And we're seeing more and more. That's a trend. Like that's a trend that's, probably been going on for maybe 2-3 years now. And it's just getting stronger and stronger because it's working, right? Right now, the one that most people mention when they come to us is a company called Morning Brew.
Okay.
And we've got a case study on our website about it, and some blog posts have been written about it.
Coffee, right?
Morning Brew is basically like a daily newsletter about, the market, stock market, and just
Okay.
other sort
Sorry,
of
because
like
it
news.
reminds me of coffee. Sorry.
Well, I think the idea is it's like basically while you're
Definitely.
drinking your morning coffee,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
your like newspaper. That's probably where the branding comes from. And those guys, they've got a really successful newsletter referral program similar to what I just
Interesting.
described. And they weren't even like an e-commerce store to begin with, but now they're becoming one, right? And so we're
Okay.
starting, because of their success, like they just got a $75 million valuation about a year ago for a newsletter business, right? So they're obviously doing really well with the newsletter referral program. And it's just one of these things that you can put one onto an e-commerce store with great success, just using some of the plugins and other SaaS companies out there. I don't sell that software. Like I said, I'm just observing where the industry is going and what I'm seeing working. And having something like a newsletter referral program as a part of an e-commerce store is obviously going pretty well for the people that have done it.
No, definitely. I agree with that.
Yep.
That's why I wanted as well to speak about it. And on the other hand, what your company, are they providing as well with the software that comes email program as well, or?
No, we're not in the business of sending any emails at all.
Okay. Okay.
Our job is to just really focus on the contact picker and the
Okay.
address book, and like making sure that part of the UI that somebody's adding to the e-commerce store is perfect and amazing.
Okay. Understand.
And then, but where we end up plugging into, as far as, are these email addresses just put into a HTML field on the page? Are they, sent to Zapier to loop through them and send them off to
Okay.
webhooks? Are they, added to a database table? Are they, put onto a mailing list in like MailChimp or Sendinblue or one of these things? Like we basically, it's our job to be able to do those things for our customers,
Okay.
but we don't actually do that. We're not trying to compete in the email service provider or the transactional email business at all. We just integrate with everybody.
Okay. I think it's already very good and very, very informative about what your company can do for Amazon sellers, because like I said already before, for Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers. So, because like I said, the initial pain point here is to drive more traffic to stores. Obviously Amazon got their own marketing program, but if you have a website, Shopify, store or anything of that kind, it's amazing to have someone who knows what he's doing in order to drive traffic, and the ways how to do it are getting increasingly more difficult in order to get that right traffic. Where can anyone who's interested in testing your software or speaking with you, getting consultation, find you, or what's the website? What is the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way is cloudsponge.com/marginbusiness. That way we can create a welcome home for your customers, or your audience. And the main thing that's on that page will be a downloadable PDF that I think e-commerce store owners or the product managers that run them will appreciate. It's what we call the better sharing workbook. It's free. Just give us an email address, we'll email it to you. And it goes through kind of a 3-step process of, first of all, having a checklist of word of mouth features, so you can sort of get inspired with things you might not have thought about, right? You might have some of them, you might not. And then the second section, for each item in the checklist that you checked off, it's a bit of an audit that helps you understand, like, are you maximizing and optimizing each of those things, right? And then the third one is more of like a suggestion for measurement criteria for, I think we all know that you only improve the things that you measure. And so it's just mostly, just encouragement to like think about, like, how am I going to measure the improvement to this word of mouth feature or that word of mouth feature? And where am I going to get the numbers? Like which of my analytics tools am I going to have to go to get this number every month, right? And so it's a short, simple PDF, but it's definitely something that our people benefit from, and it makes them think differently, and it encourages them to get on a call with me, which I do all the time. On that same page, you'll see a way to book a meeting with me on my calendar, and we can do a consultation and take a look at your site together and run through the audit and the checklist together, which is something that we do all the time, just to try to be helpful and try to help everybody think about word of mouth in a way that it's not just an afterthought, which I think is kind of part of what many e-commerce store owners sort of do by accident, is they think so much about social media advertising and search engine marketing and SEO and those kinds of things, that they forget that the word of mouth functionality is really close to the money. It's really low customer acquisition cost, where you're really capitalizing on your super fans and the people that already love your brand and have networks. And so that's kind of what the theme is for the workbook, and also for the consultation calls.
Great, that's much appreciated. Really, I think every e-commerce store owner likes something like that, and can really go and check out this PDF and see for himself that, like I already said, everyone needs traffic. So just have a look at it. I think it should be amazing. Okay, one last question I got here. We are in difficult times at the moment. The world, everything is uncertain. You're an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you have a lot of experience in what you do and how to develop products and how to help and consult e-commerce sellers. What is your general message to any CEO out there, or somebody who wants to start a business in general? I mean, general message.
Yeah, I think when I think about my own businesses and with the ones that I work with, either through CloudSponge or outside, like the thing that the most successful, or let's say the most stable ones, have in common is they actually talk to their customers.
Okay.
Like with their face, not with emails, like in real meat space. Like they will find ways to have conversations. And I'm talking about the executives of these companies, like CEO, all the executives and VPs. They will all find ways and reasons to actually speak with their customers, get to know them, not necessarily about business. But a lot of the ones that I see not working are ones that feel like everything should just be handled by software, and email marketing should work and social media marketing should work. And the thing that I see working as far as helping, companies that turn the corner and really feel like they get locked into a brand and they really understand their customers and they really know what their pricing should be and how to find their customers, where do their customers hang out, like all that kind of stuff. They all will have a theme. They all do have a theme of actually making an effort to talk to their customers, take them out for coffee, get on Zoom meetings, and actually face-to-face conversations. And I can't stress how important that is. And anybody who's not doing it, like there's a massive opportunity missing out and letting your ego thinking that you know everything and then realizing that you're wrong. And if you actually spoken to your customers, you would realize that you were wrong and you could pivot in the right direction sooner, right?
Definitely, I can confirm that, and it's very important, especially now, after COVID, we all got a bit attached to home and like the camera, it's for going out now, it's a whole other era again. It's been a long time, but I think it's very, very logic, and everyone should begin to meet, and like you said, meet the customers. Just a coffee is just something very easy. Thank you, very good advice. And Jay, it was a great time talking to you. I'm sure we can talk about a lot more things, very specifically, very technically, in what you're doing. Let's maybe do this for another time. But for now, thank you so much for being a guest at the MarginBusiness Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Omar.